Right now, 21 miles off the coast of Iran, there's a city floating in the Arabian Sea. Not just any city. A nuclear-powered fortress carrying 90 aircraft, 5,600 sailors, and more firepower than most nations possess in their entire military. And yesterday, Iran's 86-year-old supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, issued his most direct threat yet to the United States. This isn't a movie. This is happening right now. And what happens in these next few weeks could determine whether you're paying $3 for gas or $15. Whether global supply chains keep running or collapse. Whether this regional standoff becomes something far bigger. So let's break down exactly why America just parked 100,000 tons of steel and fury on Iran's doorstep. Why Tehran is genuinely terrified despite all their tough talk. And what's really at stake when the world's most powerful weapon shows up in the world's most dangerous waters. Now, the Lincoln doesn't operate alone. Never. No carrier does. Because as powerful as she is, she's also vulnerable. And that's where the carrier strike group comes in. Around the Lincoln right now, positioned in defensive formations, you've got guided missile destroyers. Arleigh Burke-class ships, each one equipped with the Aegis combat system, the most advanced air defense system on the planet. These destroyers carry 96 vertical launch cells loaded with a mix of weapons. Tomahawk cruise missiles for striking targets hundreds of miles inland. Standard missiles for shooting down aircraft and incoming missiles. Anti-submarine rockets. The Lincoln herself has relatively limited defenses. A few close-in weapon systems, some short-range missiles. She's big, she's relatively slow compared to fighters and missiles, she's a target. But she doesn't have to defend herself. That's what the destroyers are for. They create layered defensive bubbles, multiple rings of protection, overlapping fields of fire. Anything trying to attack the Lincoln has to get through not one, not two, but multiple state-of-the-art air defense systems, each capable of tracking and engaging dozens of targets simultaneously. You've also got at least one guided missile cruiser, carrying 122 vertical launch cells. The cruiser serves as the air warfare commander, coordinating all air defense assets in the strike group. And then there are the silent protectors. Attack submarines. At least one, possibly two, nuclear-powered fast attack subs screening the strike group. These submarines are operating somewhere in the vicinity, maybe within 100 miles, maybe closer. No one knows exactly where except the submarine captains and the strike group commander. And that's the point. All of this combined firepower, sensors, coordination creates what military strategists call a bubble of superiority. Within this bubble, the strike group controls the sea, the air, and increasingly, the electromagnetic spectrum and cyber domain. But here's the thing. Iran knows it can't match the United States in conventional naval warfare. They don't even try. Instead, they've spent decades developing something far more dangerous. Iran's strategy is asymmetric warfare. Weapons and tactics specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses of a technologically superior opponent. And they've gotten very, very good at it. First, drones. Thousands of drones. Not sophisticated military drones. Relatively cheap, relatively simple unmanned aircraft, many of them essentially flying bombs. One-way attack drones designed to fly into a target and detonate. An Iranian Shahed drone costs maybe $20,000 to build. An American interceptor missile costs between $2 and $4 million. You see the problem? If Iran launches 100 drones in a coordinated swarm attack, the strike group has to fire 100 interceptor missiles. That's $200 to $400 million of defensive munitions to stop $2 million worth of drones. And here's the really scary part. Modern air defense systems weren't designed for saturation attacks. They can handle multiple targets, sure. But hundreds of targets, all arriving within minutes, all coming from different directions, all flying at different altitudes and speeds? Defense experts warn that even if systems shoot down 95% of incoming drones, that still means 5 get through. And 5 drones hitting a carrier flight deck could cause catastrophic damage. But drones aren't the only threat. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy operates over 1,000 small, fast attack craft. These aren't traditional warships. They're essentially militarized speedboats armed with heavy machine guns, rockets, sometimes anti-ship missiles. The tactic is simple but effective. Swarm. Launch dozens of these boats simultaneously from multiple locations. Have them converge on a target from different directions at high speed. Now, a carrier strike group can defend against this. Those close-in weapon systems can fire thousands of rounds per minute. Helicopters can hunt them down. The destroyer's guns can take them out from miles away. But if you're defending against dozens of fast-moving boats, plus incoming drones, plus possibly anti-ship missiles all at once, you're dealing with a target-rich environment. And in that chaos, things can go wrong. Friendly fire, mechanical failures, human error. The fog of war is real. This isn't theoretical. During the tanker war in the 1980s, Iranian fast boats successfully harassed American and Allied shipping. In war games, specifically the Millennium Challenge 2002, a Marine general playing Iran used small boat swarms and cruise missiles to theoretically sink 16 American warships in the opening stages of conflict. The exercise was controversial and the results disputed, but it highlighted a genuine vulnerability. And all of this is happening in the Strait of Hormuz itself, which is geography as weapon. The strait is only 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. The navigable shipping lanes are only 2 miles wide in each direction. This means ships are predictable. They have to follow established routes. They're limited in how much they can maneuver. For Iranian forces operating from the coast, this is ideal. They know exactly where American ships have to be. They can pre-position forces. They can plan attacks knowing the target's path. The Iranian coastline along the strait is heavily fortified. Underground bases, hardened bunkers, mobile missile launchers, anti-ship missile batteries with ranges exceeding 100 miles. Iran has also invested heavily in naval mines. Thousands of mines that could be deployed quickly, turning the strait into a minefield that would take weeks to clear. So why is the Lincoln there? What's America's endgame? This comes down to deterrence and strategic signaling. The Lincoln's presence sends multiple messages simultaneously. To Iran, we can reach you, anywhere, anytime. After your violent crackdown on protesters that killed thousands, after your threats to close the Strait of Hormuz, we're here to say that escalation will have consequences. To regional allies, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Israel, we've got your back. Despite pivoting to focus on China, we haven't abandoned the Middle East. To global oil markets, the United States Navy will keep the sea lanes open. 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. That's about 21 million barrels per day. If that flow stops, global oil prices don't just rise, they explode. We're talking $15, maybe $20 a gallon for gas. Supply chain collapse. Economic recession that would make 2008 look minor. To China and Russia, who are watching very carefully, we can project power globally. We can be in multiple places at once. Never forget that. But here's what makes this moment so dangerous. Iran's regime is facing its biggest internal challenge in years. Protests that have killed over 2,600 people, according to human rights groups. The government's legitimacy is cracking. And when regimes feel threatened internally, they often lash out externally. They create foreign crises to unify the population. They take risks they wouldn't normally take. President Trump has said that help is on the way for Iranian protesters. He's warned that any further killings would have grave consequences. He's backed off from immediate strikes, but the Lincoln gives him options. Precision strikes on nuclear facilities, missile defense sites, Revolutionary Guard bases, all without committing ground troops. The question is whether Iran's leadership will back down or double down, whether they'll see the Lincoln as deterrence or provocation, whether cooler heads prevail or whether miscalculation leads to conflict. Because make no mistake, a war between the United States and Iran wouldn't be quick or easy. Iran can't win conventionally, but they can make it incredibly costly. American casualties, regional instability, oil price shocks, potential for escalation involving Israel, Saudi Arabia, even Russia and China. This is why that floating city, that nuclear-powered fortress, that iron colossus sitting 21 miles off Iran's coast matters. Not because it guarantees peace, but because it changes the calculus. It makes the cost of aggression clear. It gives diplomacy a chance while keeping military options on the table. The USS Abraham Lincoln represents the ultimate expression of American military power. But power without wisdom is just violence waiting to happen. In the next few weeks, we'll see whether this show of force prevents war or precipitates it. Whether it's deterrence in action or the prelude to something far bigger. One thing's certain, the world is watching.